What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel here. We got the truck in the shop here, working in the after hours of the day. We got a pretty decent job at hand. Mark is over here putting in some LEDs, temporary LEDs.
They're pretty nice. Don't let them tell you differently. They're very nice headlights.
They're probably gonna work just flawlessly, yeah. But you can see we got the hood open here. So basically what we're going to be doing, we'll get right into it here. So I got everything laid out on the table here that basically we're going to be doing. And one being is a turbo blanket. This is a PTP for the Garrett VGT chargers on the Duramaxes. So it will fit right on the stock turbo flawlessly in there. So we got that, and we got the wire and springs to clip it together on the bottom here. So that's one thing, and then all of this stuff is to the next task. So this is all fittings and whatnot for the fuel lines in the engine bay. So basically what we're going to be doing is, you can see my rig job here. I was trying to use my test port for someone at the shop and ended up breaking it, so I had to rig it up here to get it out here. And then we're basically going to be getting rid of this OEM stock fuel filter over here. And in that process, like, a lot of people like to just either screw on a bowl, which is like a fake filter, or you can take these two lines right down in here, might have trouble seeing, and you can kind of just loop. You can do a loop. But the problem is, this test port here actually acts as kind of a restriction to the fuel system. Just in flow wise. So we are basically going to be taking all the piping out here, even probably the Y bridge, and we are going to be getting rid of as much as we can. And over here you can see our two fuel lines, our 1/2 inch and our 3/8 return. We're basically going to be trying to just go right off these. The 1/2 inch will go right to the CP3, and the 3/8 one is going to take a little bit of work, because there's returns from the injectors, from the CP3, from the fuel rail. So we got to coordinate all of that stuff to go back into this one port here. And that is where all of this stuff comes into play. These are our CP3 fittings from PPE here. And then these will be our two fittings that will go into those stock fuel lines I showed you. This is the 1/2 inch one. Here's the 3/8 one. This one was kind of hard to find, so if you're looking for a 3/8 one with a quick disconnect and then a barb on the other side, that's it there. And then I basically just went crazy and bought all kinds of different T-fittings and barb fittings and whatnot. It was kind of difficult to find some of the smaller stuff. This is like the fuel injector return line, and I thought they sold it in lengths, but apparently they just sell it in 3 yard or 3 meter sections, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. So I got a bunch of those, thinking that I was getting like 10 feet of this stuff, and it's all separate packages. I even got a injector return line kit, which this was the first thing I got, and then I found the actual stuff and all the different fittings and whatnot, so we probably won't even need this, but I set it out in case. I got little plastic union fittings for the injector lines, and all these little T's and Y's and all this stuff, 3/8. Like, I should have everything. I don't know, but we'll find out. Probably will still need to order something. Everyone knows how that goes, right? But yeah, even 1/8 brass here. I'm gonna try and stick to the brass, I think. I just got these just in case, but we will see here. So the first thing, after all that rambling, sorry, we're just going to start tearing out all the piping. Alright guys, figured I'd catch you up here. So we're moving right along. Come up here. Y bridge is still in. We got all the piping out. That wasn't too bad. And we got the old filter setup out, so now I'm starting to work over here and get this test port and these lines down in here out. So I'm just like trying to learn as I do this, to see, because a lot of people ask why, or should I delete my stock filter head and all that stuff. And, in my opinion, like unless you're going to take all this stuff out and redo all of these lines, you're really only hurting yourself, because, that's just extra filtration. If you just take that filter housing out and go from here to here, like all this other nonsense that we're going to come across in here, I mean, it's still hurting you. But a big thing is this test port, and I haven't had the Y bridge out in a long time, but it looks like this little line here is what's feeding our CP3, I think. I can't see it, but if that is the case, that is a small line to be feeding, a 500 some horsepower truck with, tuning and all that nonsense. So we definitely want to get the Y bridge out. I'm probably not going to do that tonight. This video will be over a few days of just me tinkering on this thing after hours at the shop. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how I came so far. I mean, it looks so nice. There's all that room there, and then this rad hose here was bolted to the filter head, and I just went right to that hole right there with one of the bolts that I already took out, and wouldn't even know anything was there. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get these lines out here, and that'll probably be all for tonight, and we'll pick up tomorrow. So picking up where we left off here, I'm basically going to show you guys, while I'm thinking of it, what we are going to be using. So I went over all of this stuff in the beginning. Unfortunately, the only things that we are going to use is this for the 1/2 inch line, this 1/2 inch CP3 fitting, and we are going to use one of these 1/8 barbed fittings, and this, which is a 1/4 inch to 1/8 reducer. That is all we are going to use out of all this stuff to make this work. And I will go more in depth on why it's going to be that simple here in a minute. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to be as simple as it really is, and kind of mad I wasted all this money on all this stuff. But my whole thing was, I'm just going to get a bunch of stuff because we can never have too much of this stuff at the shop. So it was my little shop donation. Alright, so back in here, so we got the 1/2 inch line disconnected over here. Like I said, we're leaving this 3/8 return alone, so we got it all loose. There was a bracket here that I had to take out. There was a nut right here, one over here that was right there, and now this is free, so we're going to try and wiggle this out. And then our next task will be getting that line all the way down in there off the back of the CP3, switching them fittings out, and then we will just go right from here right down to there with a 1/2 inch hose, and this job will be wrapped up. Alright, so we finally got the feed fitting off the back of the CP3 here. You can see the difference. So we got the 1/4 inch over here, and this will be the new 1/2 inch fitting that we're going to be putting in. So if we come over to the table here, so this is everything that we have removed so far. This is that line that went from the fitting on the driver's side valve cover the whole way over to the test port here, and I had to cut it in 2 pieces because it did not want to come out. So, but we got it out. And then this was our feed line to the CP3 with this fitting here off of this. So you can see, like, we go from 1/2 inch off the filter and we neck down to a 1/4 inch. I don't understand that, but I feel pretty good about all the stuff we got out of the way. So you can see down in there, we didn't have to take the Y bridge out, which is huge. This dirty hooker Y bridge is not fun, to say the least, to take out. So it's literally right where my finger is. That is where the fitting will go in. You can see the hole down there. We just got to thread this in, tighten it up, and then we'll run our 1/2 inch line from just right there to right there. So we got the fitting in down there, you can see, and we got our 1/2 inch line hooked up, ran it up through there, and then quick connect from the actually that blue fitting is from the fast kits hooked up to the feed line. So we are now direct to the CP3. So now it is a matter of starting to put stuff back together, and then we will have to splice this injector return into this return here, which I have a little reducer fitting and just a little piece of hose to get here to here, and then that's it. All right guys, next day. A little frustrated with the GoPro here. A 10 out of 10 probably would not recommend a GoPro for doing this kind of stuff. I've been through 4 batteries in this video. It just, I'll go to turn it on and it'll be dead. So yeah, stick to your phone. I think I'm honestly gonna be just switching to my phone. I have the 11 and camera's pretty good, but yeah, I'm sick of the GoPro. So sorry, I had to get that ran out of the way. So been messing with this PTP blanket for probably a solid 3 hours trying to get this stupid thing to fit. I don't know if they say on the website or not, but it seems to me like you gotta have your turbo out. There's no way to fit this thing in. You can see how thick this thing is. Like, it's really, really fluffy and thick. And then if you come over here, it fits around the left side over here fine. There's plenty of room. But you can see over here, if we can get you guys in here, right there, right here, it's really, really tight between the intake manifold and the turbo. So I fought with it for a while. There's just no way that that thing is going to fit unless the turbo comes out. So I guess I'll probably just throw this in the attic somewhere until we upgrade the turbo on this at some point. I mean, it'll be happening eventually. I'm just a little annoyed. This thing was like $200. So I mean, the whole point of the reason was because that turbo has nothing around it. Kind of wanted to protect the AC line above it and everything, but whatever, you win some, you lose some. So everything's done. I don't know if I showed a final overview of everything. I got everything kind of like hooked back up here. You probably ain't gonna be able to see it, but our line there, I'm redoing my PCV lines with better hose. So one thing with the PCV hose, you do need to make sure that it is like PCV or emission fuel hose or whatever. I had heater hose on here and it was like sweating like oil, so don't use heater hose. I learned that the hard way. I don't know if I went over that or not already, but anyways, we're just gonna get putting this back together and whatnot. All right guys, back. 4th battery change for this video on the wonderful GoPro. So pretty much kind of wrapped up here for the most part. I just got to put the cold side and the intake back in. I got the hot side pipe all buttoned up. We got our PCV all done, you can see. So that's all done, redone, whatever. So I mean, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that stuff, but I drained the coolant because like the way I have it set up, it's so easy. I had to mess with some stuff in here that were coolant lines to get to that CP3 fitting. And you know, I already made kind of like a mess with coolant. I was like, why do I not just drain the coolant? It's easy to do, and it's worth it to not deal with the mess. But to refill the cooling system, especially on one of these trucks, sometimes it can be really hard. Like, they won't take coolant, and you're sitting there and you're trying to run it to get it to flow, and it'll overheat and all kind of nonsense. It can happen with any of these trucks, Dodge, Ford, Chevy. So we got this kit, and it's called Airlift. I guess that's the brand. I'm not really sure, honestly. But a little book. So this thing is really, really cool. Highly recommended. I think it was like $130. So basically, this thing will go on here like this, and you tighten the nut down, whatever, and then there's a line that you will hook up to the compressor, this one here. So you'll hook this up to the compressor and it'll create a vacuum in the system, and you just get it to, I normally take it to like 25, a little under 25 there. You'll take it up, then you'll close the valve, disconnect the compressor line, and you will take this one and you'll just take this, and like I have my bucket of coolant over there that I drained out, so I'll just stick this in the bucket and you open the valve and it'll suck all the coolant right back in. It fills everything, so there's no worry about air bubbles in the system and all that nonsense. Takes all that out, very simple. And I'll try and go through the process here. I'll get everything hooked up and try and walk you guys through it. It's pretty cool. So this is one thing you have to do, like your breather line that almost every expansion tank has. You have to plug it with something so that you can get the, let it create the vacuum in the system. So you can see I have that down into just an empty bottle there. Sometimes some stuff will come out of that hose, and we will open this and you'll see it start to pull that vacuum. Like I said, once we get to like 20, a little under 25, we'll shut this off. This is a good way to test for leaks too, because if you have any leaks, it won't build vacuum like that. It won't even hold it. So like you'll see when we we're getting pretty close. All right, that's good. So like you'll see when I close that valve, that shouldn't move. So that ensures us that we have a sealed system. So I got my bucket set up here, got our hose down in there, and you'll see we'll just open, this one's already open, so we'll open this, and boom, just starts pulling that coolant into the system. The key is you want to make sure, which I'm probably gonna have to lose the camera here, you want to make sure this stays down like this, that you don't suck any air in, and like when it gets low you want to tilt the bucket, and as soon as it starts sucking air, then you kind of just want to release it and either grab another can of coolant if you don't have enough in your bucket or whatever. Alright, so we got the truck all buttoned back up here, all the piping's back in and everything. You can see all the space we got down in there. Got our return line, let's see if you guys can see it right here. You can kind of see the little conjunction down there where I joined the small injector return line to the other return line. But that's about it. Everything is good. I started it. We had no leaks. What I did notice was at idle, it was about 6,000, I think roughly 6,000 at fuel rail pressure. So it looks like we gained like 1,500 there. And so I'm really curious to drive it when we finally get the chance and see if it actually makes a difference, which it already looks like it should. With that being said, guys, we're gonna wrap this video up. Probably a little bit longer than normal. A lot of stuff happened in this video, but I hope it helped you guys out and got you a little show of the fuel system on a Duramax and what you can kind of do to clean up the engine bay a little bit if you have a lift pump and you don't need that filter anymore. So if you haven't already, please subscribe for future videos. Hopefully be doing some more stuff to the truck soon, and please give me a thumbs up if you would, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks.